3, 2, 1. Angela Boxall, you are the COO of Majesticare and you're one of the co-founders of the Care Society. Welcome to the Care Home Show.
Welcome, Simon. Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So, you're someone who, when I first met you, I felt that you live very purposefully in what it is that you do. So, can you explain a little bit about how did you get into the care sector?
The care sector found me a little bit, really.
Okay.
So I was living away from home, training to be an actress.
Oh, wow, okay.
Doing a bit of work in the West End and things like that. And unfortunately, my mother passed away.
Okay.
So off home I went after finishing my course and decided to take a year out.
Sure.
Didn't know what to do with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So did some singing in clubs and weddings and a band and things like that. And then my sister, who was working in a care home, said they need an activities coordinator.
Okay.
It'll suit you down to the ground with your personality. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So this was mid-90s, quite progressive for a home to have an activities coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So off I popped.
Wow, okay.
And that's where it began, really. And then I'd be getting the phone calls going, we're short on care this morning. Is there any chance you can come in and give us a hand? And 2 years later, I was deputy manager. Then went on to be care manager, home manager, compliance manager, operations manager, and so on and so forth. So
Okay.
I fell into the industry by mistake. But
Wow, okay.
as soon as I got there, I knew that that's where I should be.
Okay.
So it's been a long year out, really. But it's something I don't regret at all because it's actually what I was meant to do.
It's strange, isn't it, how I speak to a lot of people of whom have a personal experience that leads them into a role in care in some way, shape or form. And I often think, it's entirely anecdotal, but I often think the people that have that really strong connection or personal reason as to why they end up in some type of role in care, that it impacts them so much that it encourages them to progress within their role. So you literally started as a frontline team member.
I was a bingo caller.
As a bingo caller.
Because that's what we did in them days.
And now you're the CEO of one of the most exciting groups in the UK. So that's hopefully that's inspiration for people out there who are frontline team members who have got big aspirations and things to show it certainly can be done.
I would hope so. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons I'm here today, because finding people to come into this industry and take it as a career is becoming less and less. And you know, the demographic of care homes in this country, we're now knowing is mostly over 50. Mm-hmm. So where are we going to be if we don't start bringing in these new, younger sort of type people who want to make a career out of it? So yeah, it's exciting times, but we've just got to change people's perception of what care is, I think.
It's a big topic of conversation at the moment, and one that we'll definitely make sure that we explore in some reasonable detail in our conversation today. So just so that I've got it clear in my mind, so did you start with Majesticare all those years ago, or was that?
No, I didn't. No,
okay.
I went to Majesticare. Well, Majesticare bought a care home where I was the deputy manager.
Okay.
In 2006. So I've been with them since.
That's a fair old stint.
It's a fair old stint. But then again, most of us at Majesticare have done a fair old stint. So sure. I'm not on my own.
I mean, that says something about the culture and the leadership and the kind of the vision and aspirations of the company. The fact that you've wanted to stick around for so long and do what you've done and do what you've achieved and things like that. So that's really exciting. So, and I mean, you've answered this to a certain extent in what you've explained, but why is what you do so important to yourself personally?
Family, I guess. That sounds a bit of a strange answer, I know, but I believe that everybody is somebody's family. So if we're going to look after people, then we should look after them as if they're our own.
Sure.
My family are everything to me. I've got a huge family, all of which they're all exactly like me. They all believe in caring for people, even if that's not what their job is.
Sure.
And the people that I work with are very invested in their family too. So everybody that comes and lives in our care homes is part of the family, I hope. And that's what drives me on. And it's one of our values as well. So.
It's important to live out your values, of course. So, okay. So there's an awful lot that I'd like to speak to you about Majesticare. But before we get stuck into all of that, please can you tell me a little bit about the Care Society for anyone that hasn't heard of the organisation and what you guys do and who's involved and how it all started. If you can give us a bit of an overview on that, that'd be really interesting.
So the Care Society began with 4 women who had a dream. I want to sing now. Had a dream to change the sector a little bit in the way that we think, the way that we act, the way we behave. And basically what we want to happen is that good practice, innovation, creativity is all shared. Gone are the days when none of the providers speak to each other, which is a good thing. But actually there's more than care providers within the care sector now. So the care sector, the social care sector, is a huge thing. There are sort of law firms, there are care consultancies, there are banks that are invested in social care, property developers. It's a huge industry now that not just involves care providers that can make a difference. We also felt that there was a real gap of suppliers and training companies and recruitment agencies and getting them involved in the sector too, because actually people that are doing it well, those people are actually having a really big impact on the social care sector. Bringing us the right teams in and getting those teams upskilled is crucial. But very often they were sat on the sidelines. So
Sure.
The dream was to bring everybody together and have a conversation, which is one conversation at a time, is the tagline. And we truly believe that, together as a sector, not us as individuals, but together as a sector, we can make a difference. And I think that's been evidenced by the events that we've had. It's been really well attended by all corners of the social care sector. There's been lots of conversations. We've had some fabulous speakers that have joined us, some brilliant people that have stood on our forums. And I've certainly learned a lot from doing it. But the biggest part is it's an opportunity for people to come together, learn something new, take something away, but also meet new friends. Actually, as friendships within the sector are really what's moving it forward, I believe. Certainly within the last couple of years, I've made some friendships that have certainly helped develop me personally, as well as helped our organisation.
Sure.
So, we learn from each other, we grow together. That's what the Care Society is all about. But it was originally set up with 4 ladies. Caroline Roberts from Well Tower, who is mad as a hatter and brings the fun factor to the Care Society.
Caroline.
Bhavna, obviously BKR, who brings the networking ninja to the Care Society.
Definitely a networking ninja.
She certainly knows how to meet people and inspire people. Obviously Marla from Athena Care Homes, who has a wealth of experience and knowledge within the sector, both from an LD and an elderly perspective, and who is our calming influence. I think Marla's a fabulous lady. So, and I bring the gung-ho. I think I bring the down to earth. They always stick me on the stage and say, "Can you stand up and introduce us?" Because So yeah. Maybe the acting skills came in after all.
It's one of those things, isn't it? It's weird how these life experiences, however you come about them, end up playing out and having a significant part of our lives as they kind of come together and things like that. So what I love about the Care Society is the fact that it's a forum for people for open-minded people to be able to collaborate. That's the thing that I think of when I think about the Care Society. For one reason or another, one reason or another, I haven't been to any of the events, but I understand the kind of the energy and passion and things that go that go into them. So that means I've got to obviously come to one of the next events and make sure I'm there in the future. But I was talking to somebody about this really recently, and there's running a business of any type, especially a care home business or a business that operates within the care sector. It can be quite lonely. It can be quite difficult because it's not. Let's be honest. It's not an easy environment in which to operate. Whatever that means for you personally. So, being able to share somebody else's energy that's going to help fuel your passion, your enthusiasm, your understanding, your opportunities to innovate and things like that. That can only be a good thing as far as I'm concerned. So it's a great idea. I know it's still a relatively young idea at the moment, but I know you've got some big plans for the future and things like that. So
yeah, we've got some really exciting things coming up. So certainly focused towards the small to medium organisations out there, especially those that sole providers as well. How do they get to grow? How do they get to learn? Very often don't even get to hear about networking events, conferences, those sorts of things. So yeah, we're looking forward to the future. And the great thing about the Care Society is that after the last event, it was the Pinders Awards. I know you had John Chapman the next day, and everybody was talking about it. So everybody was coming up and chatting, and even when I sort of went in and joined a conversation, as you do at these things, they were talking, I hear the event went well last night. So for me, that's part of what we wanted to do. We wanted to get people talking. And I think we achieved it. So we're quite proud of our achievements so far, but lots more to do.
I hear lots of people talking about the Care Society, and it's all good. I think coming back to my point about the energy side of things, because it can be quite a challenging sector to be able to work in, to be able to share that energy with people, I think is really, really important, especially when you've got such exciting people involved, so many interesting speakers and things like that. So it's exciting times, and I look forward to seeing what the future has in store for the Care Society.
Fantastic.
Good stuff. So tell me a little bit about Majesticare and what exactly do you do as an organisation?
So Majesticare used to be a bit bigger than it is now. We used to have up towards 25 homes. But we made the decision big isn't always better for us personally. So now we have 8 homes, nearly 8 homes. One of them opens in August.
Teetering on the edge. Yeah.
Teetering on the edge. So we are an organisation who believes in a vision, and that vision is to create outstanding places where people love to live and work. So we put just as much energy into our staff as we do our residents, and we do that for one reason, and that is because actually our staff look after our residents. So if we have a highly energetic and motivated staff team, then the business takes care of itself, basically. We like to go on sort of the more luxury end. So we are a private pay care company, but we never, private pay, if somebody lives with you 8 years, one thing that we would never do is turn somebody away. One of our homes is home for life. And we truly believe in well-being and lifestyle rather than care intervention, which hopefully everybody does. But I think we just try to take it to the next level.
Sure.
So Majesticare, logistically, it's a bit of a nightmare travelling. We're all over the place. But we want to build. So that's our business model going forward. So we want to build great homes with bricks and with people. We want to be different. We want people to come and live with us, to have a good time, to enjoy life rather than wait for the end, which I think years ago that's what it used to be.
Sure.
We believe in each other, and we've worked together for a long time. So the biggest thing that makes Majesticare different is that the leadership team have worked together for over 10 years. I don't know of any other care organisation that can say that. All of us, we've been there a long time. We've seen each other through ups and downs. We've all grown in role. So one of our ladies had the first outstanding dementia care home in the UK, and is now our memory care and lifestyle lead for the group. One of our ladies was the office manager years ago, but she's now our innovation and quality lead.
Wow, okay.
So we have, we like to develop people, we like to grow, and we've grown together. And that's what makes us different. We've brought 2 new people in, though, because we're expanding and we want to give a little bit more time to quality. Not that we won't quality, but, you focus on that even more, especially around the employees. But we've chosen well. And 2 newest recruits who have joined the team, it's like they've been here forever. And they say it's like they've been here forever. We say Majesticare goes through you like a stick of rock. So we all believe that. We all truly believe in our vision. And we wrote our values together with our staff. So values weren't written in an ivory tower behind a desk. Values were chosen by everybody that lives them.
Sure.
And I think that's what makes us truly unique, in the fact that we truly believe in our values, not just, at director or leadership level, but within our homes, within our teams, and within our residents too. That's our next step. It's quite a journey, getting values into homes and getting them to be part of our everyday lives. It's not easy to change culture and climate. So, we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go.
So there's an awful lot to unpack there. One question that I think is important to ask is, you made a really big decision to go from around 30 homes to dropping down to 8. What was the kind of instigator behind wanting to do that? Because there's probably lots of people thinking, well, hang on a second, if you grow, you can look after more people, you can build a bigger team. That's tell me a little bit more about that.
It's personal. So we're owned by 2 gentlemen who believe in the sector too, who believe that people come first. And that means our staff as well as our residents. We want it to be personal. So we want to go into the homes and know everybody's name. We want to go into the homes and them know who we are and know a little bit about us as human beings. We want to go into the homes and we still want to make a difference on that ground level. So, yes, we can write policies and procedures and we can put all of these things in place. But, a business plan is great on a piece of paper. But when you're dealing with people, that business plan doesn't always go to plan. People tend to throw curveballs in and grenades and all sorts of things. So if we're there and we're on the ground, in the homes, working with the teams, then we can catch the grenades and throw them out the window. And it just means that people are invested and that people stay. Quality improves, I think, because retention improves. We never want to be big. So we want to build a few more, but we don't want to knock 5 homes a year out. We want quality homes with quality people.
Sure.
And we have a long-term plan on how to get there. Short term, we just want to turn up and make a difference.
Love that. Tell me about the vision for Majesticare. You touched on that earlier, but as an organisation that culturally seems to be really firing on all cylinders, tell me a little bit more about your vision for the company.
Outstanding is a funny word, isn't it? What is outstanding? To one person, it's different to another. We don't want to be outstanding for CQC. We want to be outstanding for our residents and for our staff, which is why they're named in our vision and CQC aren't. Mm-hmm. But we also truly believe that if they are if we achieve what we set out to achieve, then the rest will come.
Sure.
So our vision is that people get up and love coming to work. And they love coming to work so much that they make the lives of our residents fantastic every day. We want residents to get up in the morning and say, what we're doing today, not what time's breakfast, or is it dinner time yet, or what time's my daughter coming, which are so often the questions that you hear. We want to know what we're doing next, what's happening today. That's our vision. We want people to enjoy life, have a bit of fun, and we truly believe that by creating our vision, the business will take care of itself. So whilst we do concentrate on the business, of course we do, we have a very strategic plan as to where we're going. But that plan is on a piece of paper. What we give to the people is something completely different. We give people autonomy, we give people confidence, we give people the ability to think for themselves and to make decisions. We reinvest, so we give people money to sort of, if they're making money, they need to put it back into their homes. So we want to give everybody the tools so it creates our business plan rather than the business plan create the people.
I think that's a point that's often, unfortunately, misunderstood. I think it's my opinion, certainly, that if you set out your vision and values for your organisation, that should set the context for your business plan. That should be your operating system that your business plan should sit within. And people, unfortunately, all too often think, oh, right, well, I've got a business plan and it looks like increasing occupancy and it looks like getting rid of agency and it looks like delivering great care and this and that and the other. And it's like, well, of course, all of those things are super, super important, but that's...
Especially to our FD. Yeah.
That's what you say
Especially to our FD.
Yeah, this is very true. Yeah, absolutely. When you're looking pounds, shillings, and pence and things, but that's what you're doing, or how you're doing it, rather than why you're doing what you're doing. And I think we all need to ask ourselves that question: why are we doing what we do? Because that's asking yourself the question, why do you do what you do, will ultimately help you answer the questions of what do you envision for your future, and what are the values of your organisation to create that operating system. And if you've got that mapped out properly and you're using that as a decision-making tool for whether it be recruitment or anything else, or how you lead your team, or it's attributed to everything that's involved in the business, you will have more people that turn up every single day and say, you know what, I love my job and I love looking after people. And that doesn't necessarily mean a frontline care worker or whatever the role might be. It might be somebody that works in laundry, but that person working in laundry, because they do their job to their fullest extent and they bring their whole person, their whole self to work, that's their contribution to the outstanding care that people deserve to receive. So
it starts from the beginning. So we've been on a journey. We're still on the journey. So we're now in a position where we're recruiting for values. So we don't sit people down and interview them about what skills they've got. We stick people in a room and play games, talk about scenarios, and find out what values they've got. Only then will they get to an interview to actually, we can teach skill. We can teach skill. We can teach details, but what we can't teach is values. That's innate to me. You've got the values or you haven't. So we're in a fabulous position now where we did an advert a couple of weeks ago for our new home, and we call it Star Catcher. And we had we were expecting 12 people, because obviously we like to keep it so we can make sure everybody gets an opportunity to talk, because within a group setting people can get lost. And we had 19 people turn up because people were bringing their mates and saying, come and have a look at this Star Catcher thing, it looks amazing. And what a group of people. And it's attracting the right people. It's working. it's it's very HR regulated. We've got there's a lot of underpinning policy and procedure underneath what we do. We don't just decide to turn up, play games in a room. But actually, the people that turn up don't know about all that stuff underneath. They just know that we want to employ the right people. And that inspires them to want to work for us because they want to work with the right people too. We also plant people. So we've also, we'll put some of the home staff in there as well. So we can see how the staff interact with people. They get to spend time with the residents. And that's where it starts for us. If we recruit for values, then actually it's less difficult further down the line. Because they already believe in our values. They already believe in the culture that we have within our homes. And hopefully we'll be able to enhance it. So, it starts from the beginning. But it's tough when there are so many care jobs out there. It's not the most well-paid job in the world. So not for the amount of responsibility. So if people love coming to work and can have a bit of fun, as well as doing something that gives them a real sense of achievement and worth and feel valuable, then they're more likely to turn up every day. So we're really excited about that. And the next stage, which we've just launched, which is Inductions. So the manager has the same induction as the lady in the laundry in our homes now. So the first thing they do on the first day is learn about our values. And we do the moving and handling and the infection control, and it's important. But they'll do that in a different way if they understand our values and they understand the creativity that we want them to bring every day to work. So it's exciting.
How so I mean, for you personally and for the organisation, how important has it been for you to reinforce the vision of the organisation and then also the values into the team?
It's been everything. It's been everything. It was I live by my values as an individual. I make mistakes. I'm human.
As we all are.
But that's what I like to bring to the table. I like people to know that we're all human. I like people to know that it's okay to make mistakes. And for me to work in an organisation that didn't have any values, or at least only had them on paper and didn't really believe in them, is something that I just couldn't do. And the most amazing thing about my job is that I'm allowed to make a difference every day. With a fabulous team of people who also want to make a difference every day, and 2 directors who own the business who also want to make a difference every day. So it's like going to work with just the best people ever. That's why I'm still there after 13 years.
And may well be there for a few more years yet, I would
Hopefully,
imagine.
yeah. I have no plans to go anywhere. Far too much to do.
Certainly sounds that way.
And we certainly have a lot of fun.
It's interesting, isn't it? What I feel like you've been talking about an awful lot kind of boils down to alignment, because you've got all of that operating system mapped out, and because you've made sure that you've employed the right people, and that you've got that induction process where you're including your vision and values into everything that you do, as you say. People are operating in a way which is in alignment with how the leadership set out to achieve. And I mean, I don't know exactly the dynamics of your business. That wouldn't say that you don't experience the same challenges as everyone else, but I would imagine that a lot of the challenges out there faced by, let's call it, the sector, you are able to overcome more effectively because you have a far more cohesive team.
Teamwork is everything, isn't it, I think? So I read a great thing the other day, and it was talking about the difference between managers and leaders. But the great thing, it started off by saying when we're at school, we all sit there and think, what do I want to be when I grow up? And some people say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a bus driver, I want to be a gardener, but how many children want to be a leader?
Interesting question.
And it was a really interesting article that talked very much around managers who see everybody around them as a competition rather than leaders who see everybody as being a potential part of the team. And that's what we've got. That's what we've got everywhere now. We have to manage systems and processes, but we must lead people. And leading people is very often from the back of them, not out front. You can inspire people, and sometimes you have to be out front for that. But leaders are the ones that don't take the credit. Leaders are the ones that are working alongside everybody to make them better. And we have that in abundance at Majesticare, and that's something that's grown. We've still got a long way to go. So we're a new team. We've had teething problems. I've pulled my hair out a few days. So yeah, we do have the same issues as the rest of the care sector, but we've faced them together. Has there been any time within those years that I felt like packing in? Yeah, once. For about 3 minutes. And then everybody went, oh my God, we're here for you. And that was, reflecting on that, it was that self-pity because something had gone wrong and it had gone against my values. And that's when I just thought, oh my God, can't deal with this. But it's the people around you that make you realise that it's not about you. It's about everyone. So 99.9% of the time it's about everybody else. But I'm human, as I said.
Of course.
Occasionally it just worries me, but it doesn't last very long at Majesticare, so that's good.
It's great, isn't it, when you hold yourself to such a high standard, but then when everyone else is holding themselves to an equally high standard, if you do have a bit of a moment where you have let's call it an inevitable oh shit moment for whatever reason that might be, and again, we're all human, we all have them, to have somebody who has genuinely got you back to be able to go, come on, it's all right, we've got this, we've got you, we'll sort the situation out, whatever it is. That has great value in a team environment, because it's the old analogy of there's no I in team. It's just a prime example of how that plays out in the world.
I trust everybody I work with. Trust is another value. There you are. But I really do. Everybody's got my back and I've got theirs. And that doesn't mean we cover up for each other. That means we help each other through that oh shit moment, and come out the other side and laugh about it and say, what did we learn? Yeah, let's not do that again, eh? That wasn't, didn't like that very much. And we may sometimes go back. I think it's good to go back sometimes. So, we have lessons learned discussions, sometimes 2 years after they've happened, because you may find yourself going down that same road again, because it's easy to forget when 99% of the time you're happy. It's easy to forget that 1% where it went wrong. And when you were faced fully on values, it's also easy to forget the policy, the procedures, the things that underpin it. So quality assurance, compliance, all of those things that actually have to sit underneath what we do every day, you can't forget them. They have to continue. They have to be part of what we do whilst we're living our values and having a bit of fun. We've got serious jobs. We're looking after older people who deserve the best of our attention. So, we still look back on times of trouble. Again, there's another song for you. Let's not go back. Let's go forward. So, I believe in what we'll do.
So, values are obviously an absolutely essential part of your operating system. Give me a breakdown on your values.
Okay. Family, we discussed earlier. So, family. So that's family values outside of work as well as inside of work. So we allow our staff to have time off for sports day and carol concerts without it impacting on their annual leave. So that's family outside, but we also believe in family inside. So we trust each other and we do right by each other, and care about each other. We're a care industry after all. So family is a big one, followed very closely by trust, because the two are quite linked. To fully invite someone into your family, you've got to trust them. Followed closely by heart. So we say lead from the heart, be passionate, be courageous. Don't be afraid to make a difficult decision. Leaders have to have the confidence to make difficult decisions in difficult circumstances. And the people we employ and who work with us have to make difficult decisions every day.
Of course.
Life and death decisions sometimes. So we have to be able to allow them to have the courage and the confidence to do the job that they believe that they should do. Creativity is another one of our values. We believe in looking at the experience rather than the task. Care can be quite task orientated, care intervention. Who's down for a bath today? It's sometimes task. Who's on your list is another thing that you sometimes hear. So we try and move away from that. Creativity is about allowing people to change a task into something enjoyable for the resident. A bath is a good example. So are we going to have a bath, or are we going to have a bubble bath with some music on, a glass of Prosecco in the evening or in the morning, should they wish, and turn it into something that's meaningful. Also, creativity is how we are with our teams. So a big part of creativity for us is thinking outside the box. Sylvie Silver once said to me that she'd never been to a conference like it when she came to the Majesticare conference, because it's not death by PowerPoint. You know, we had balloons on the tables, and, you know, we were stomping our feet to follow the leader, follow the leader. So we just do things a bit differently, and we find that if we do that, we capture more imagination. And our last value, but definitely not the least value, is happiness. Happiness for all. So happiness for the people that live and work with us is crucial. But our own happiness, my happiness, your happiness, anybody that comes in touch with Majesticare, we want them to be happy. And we want to be happy ourselves. So that's ensuring people have a good work-life balance. And actually, by following all the other values, that's what makes us happy. So happiness sort of encompasses everything else.
What I really like about the way that you've mapped that out for Majesticare is the fact that you've not just got what the value is itself, but then also you've added some meaning to it, and then the behaviours that are attached to that. So although it's quite prescriptive, it allows people to be specific in their thought process, and they're saying, okay, so am I operating in a way which is in line with our values as a using it as a tool to make sure that they're showing up to work in the right way every single day. Because again, we are human. Occasionally we have good days, occasionally we have bad days, but being able to either to be able to have a word with yourself and say, right, okay, was that in line with the values or not? Or have somebody else to be able to pull you up on it and say, do you know what, maybe that could have been improved. Maybe you could have come to work with a bit more heart today. That's not a negative thing. That's not pulling somebody over the hot coals and saying, so do you think that you turned up with heart today? No, you know what, actually, I could have done better from that perspective. And again, that it turns it into a learning opportunity and a positive reinforcement rather than it's carrot over stick. Basically, that's what I'm.
Yeah. Do you know what? Still, sometimes the stick has to come out. You know what? You can try the carrot forever and a day. The stick's probably not as big and hard and scary as other people's sticks. for us, it's about having an adult conversation. If things aren't working, things aren't working.
Sure.
I went to an employee engagement seminar last year, and there was a talk on HR, and the lady actually said, burn your employee handbook.
Interesting.
Have it all there underpinning it. Everything has to be underpinned. But actually, let's just start out by having an adult conversation, because that's actually how people want to be treated. That's how I'd want to be treated. You know, if one day I turned up and I wasn't doing my job anymore, rather than going through all of this process of, you know, grievances and disciplinaries and all of those sorts of things that we seem to have fallen into sometimes within this sector, as every other sector, because we're so scared of the, you know, the repercussions. But actually treating people like adults and having a conversation sometimes gets you where you want to be a lot quicker and a lot easier. Because if values aren't aligned and both sides realise that those values aren't aligned and both of you aren't happy, then actually 9 times out of 10 that conversation will be, well, let's work together until we find something else. But we both have agreed that it's not right for us. And people respect that. People respect being treated like an adult rather than a number. Doesn't work in every circumstance, but works in most, I think.
Makes me think of, there's a book by a gentleman by the name of Jocko Willink, who wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. And that's what you were describing there makes me think of the book, because it talks about people taking ownership of their situation, rightly or wrongly, good or bad. You need to be able to have those direct conversations sometimes. And again, that might include a little bit of stick. Obviously, you'd always favour the carrot over the stick where possible. But it's important to make sure that where you've got difficult situations, most importantly, that people are taking ownership of things, especially in a leadership role. So
Very true.
So taking ownership of things is an element of what I would like to call high performance. I know that you would, I would certainly class you as a high performance individual. I'd imagine that you would be perceived that way as your team, by your team. Sorry. What's your own definition of high performance?
To be a high performance organisation, there are lots of factors that sit with that. But I think the biggest element to a high performing organisation is a high performing team. It's about people. People make an organisation. And it's about having the right people in the right places at the right times, having that mix of people that interchange roles if they need to. So a high-performing organisation will perform whether somebody's off sick or whether somebody's on holiday. A job that is by a high-performing individual will continue whether they're in work every day or whether they're on a beach in Marbella. So for me, high-performance organisations are organisations that can achieve what they want to achieve no matter what. And that comes down to people. So I like to go on holiday like everybody else. And I never once stand at the bottom of the plane steps thinking, God, did I do that? Or did I remember to do that? Because, we have a long way to go at Majesticare, but we are where we are. And I know that no matter how many balls I drop, whether it's a big one or, a table tennis ball, somebody somewhere will pick it up because our roles interchange.
Sure.
It's about not having gaps. It's about having good communication and understanding of what everybody's roles and responsibilities are. One of the things that we've recently done is actually shared our job descriptions with the homes. So they know what our jobs are too.
Got it.
We just never thought of doing it before. So we all knew what each other had to do. But actually, it was really interesting when the staff said, no idea what you do. So, neither do I. But
get it down on paper. Let's share it together.
Every day. Let's get it on paper and let's share with And let's see actually if it reflects what you think I do. So I think high-performing individuals are people that allow themselves to make mistakes and learn from them, but always have a backup plan. Always go to plan Z if you have to get where you want to be. Dedication, motivation, energy, ambition too, not just for oneself, but for others and for the organisation. So ambition's a great driver for a high-performance organisation.
Huge, yeah.
And we're ambitious. Just because we don't want to be big doesn't mean we're not ambitious. Doesn't mean we don't want to be the best. So of course we do. The people that live with us deserve that. So, people. Without people in the right place, with the right skills, in the right team, you'll never have a high-performance organisation.
So that feels like a good segue to talk about the human element of leadership. Starting with starting with people, of course. I know that's something that you're very, very big on personally. Explain what that means for you, and how does that play out in the world at Majesticare?
It's about me, being me. So we did the psychoanalyst stuff, and there's a work face and a personal face. Mine was exactly the same. There was no change in anything.
I'm not surprised by that in any way, shape, or form.
Which was a bit scary, because actually most of my friends would say, how do you even hold a job down, never mind one that's quite responsible. I am a bit scatty at times. Timekeeping's atrocious. I've got a good memory though, so that helps. But yeah, on a day-to-day basis, I am a normal girl from Derbyshire who loves her family very much, who loves going out with the girls and having a bit of fun, but actually also wants to make a difference, not just to the industry, but for myself and my family. And the human element of leadership is that I bring that to work every day. So who am I? People don't want every detail, but people want to know who I am, and I want to know who they are, because that means that we can be work friends. And if we're work friends, then we'll work together better.
Sure. Because
we'll communicate better. And people will trust me because they know people. They know that the kind of person that I am. There's no hidden agenda. One person said to me yesterday, actually, worked for us for about 6 months, and said, when I first started working here, I couldn't work you out. And I said, really? God, that's really strange. Because there's nothing to work out.
Sure. Yeah. There's no.
And I was a bit like, oh, okay. I was going to get like a bit defensive and go, no, I am me. But actually, it made me think, okay, well, that's a good thing. He couldn't work me out because actually there was nothing to work out.
It's really interesting that the fact that you said that, just because one of the first things, I mentioned it right at the beginning of the conversation, one of the first things that struck me was the fact that you seem such a congruent person. So the fact that you've done that kind of the kind of psychographic profiling or whatever the tool was, it just reinforces that entirely. So my intuition kind of kicked off well in that respect, and it's really interesting to see that other people see that as well. Obviously, the particular individual was kind of almost a little bit confused. Like, is this actually the person that I'm getting?
Yeah. And he'd worked with other organisations, so he'd only been with us for 6 months. He'd worked for other organisations within the care industry who he didn't even know the CEO, right, or the directors or operations managers, probably, to that point. So he just found it a bit different and a bit strange. But I believe that I can't do my job if I'm not me. I am me. We are all me, aren't we? And we bring that to work as much as we can. So the reason that we're having karaoke is because I will get up there and do a bit of karaoke with the staff, and they'll know that that's who I am. Although I do hate karaoke, but don't tell them that unless they listen, obviously. But that's who I am. I will get up and belt out a bit of Gloria Gaynor, after a G&T. But I will also equally clap along to, all of them getting up there, and I'm comfortable making a fool of myself. Let's put it that way.
I think that's really good. It's all too important, and probably something that's lost on a lot of leaders. So, you were telling me a little bit about before we started camera rolling about the team development day that you're doing over the next few days. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I'm going to be a zombie, which is really exciting. So, yeah, the whole team. So what we do for team building is we take 6 people. We can't take everybody all at once because obviously then our residents would be alone, and that's never a good start for a care home, is it?
True, yeah.
But we take 6 people from each home at each team building event. So we have 3 team building events a year plus a Christmas conference, which is not really a conference, but we feel like we have to call it that so people take us seriously as an organisation. But team building is fantastic, and I actually sent an email to Steve Oakes and Roger Pratap, who own Majesticare, last week, and just said thank you for allowing us to do this, because it makes such a difference, and it's just so amazing, and it's not cheap. So it's amazing that they let us do it and actually come along and dress up as Spider-Man and Batman. Fully lycraed up.
Can't wait to see the photos.
So I've got them already.
Yeah.
They were from the last one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But this time, loads of team healthy competition during the day. We've got hook a duck, human whack-a-mole, crystal maze, coconut shy. Just all sorts of stuff. We've got a hypnotist coming in the evening to hypnotise all of our staff into believing our values.
All important, yeah.
And on Friday, we're all dressing up as zombies, learning the thriller dance. And that'll be on our website, recruitment site. Come and be a zombie.
I love the fact that was your idea as well.
Yeah, I'm a bit mad. But I'll love it. But everybody will love it. Who didn't want to learn the thriller dance?
Hopefully no one.
I haven't met anybody yet that said, I wouldn't want to learn that and have a video of us doing it. It'd be great.
Do you know what you've done there? You've made a big investment in fun.
That's what it's all about. Because, without that, you don't want to turn up to work every day.
Absolutely.
So, our team name is the Funsters.
The Funsters, nice. Another positive reinforcement of what you're all about as an organisation.
The Funsters. Our homes are like the Vikings and the Warriors, and we're the Funsters. So we turn up like the Bart Simpson family, and get involved but lose on purpose because there's a prize. So whoever wins on the first day, whichever home wins, they get £1,000 to take back to buy something nice for the staff room or whatever they want to do. So it's competitive. It's great. They all turn up with their warrior makeup and
nice.
Go for it.
Got the game face on.
Game face is on. Yeah, it's good fun.
Amazing. So you've held leadership roles for quite a long time now. What have been your most impactful leadership lessons throughout your career?
Always be involved. Always know what's going on. Always communicate with people rather than through people. I think that's where a lot of leaders make mistakes. Communication through a person to another person and back again. Chinese whispers was not just a child's game. Things aren't always what they seem, and that isn't because people are intentionally telling you something different. It's just their interpretation of what they've been told or what they've seen. So my biggest lesson is definitely be aware of everything firsthand, be available, be approachable, be around, be there. The fish philosophy, be there. don't just be.
Fish philosophy?
The fish philosophy.
I haven't heard this one.
Have you not heard this? So,
haven't heard this one.
you should. It's a fish market in Seattle that believe in fun and creativity. So the fish philosophy is fabulous. It's all about being there, make someone's day and
Is this
have a
the
bit
same,
of fun.
Slightly strange tangent, but this is the same fish market in Seattle where they throw the fish together when they sing. Yeah, I've heard
so
about
it's
that.
the fish philosophy.
Got you.
So,
Okay.
I was first introduced to that by Avnish from Hallmark Care Home. So he did some empowerment days, and Majesticare were lucky enough to go along and join them there.
Okay.
So there were a few care organisations there, and he played the video, and I'd not seen it before, but actually it's we often play it now for our teams and say, this is a high-performing organisation. It's a fish market in Seattle, but it's a high-performing organisation because it ran like clockwork.
Sure.
And, the crowds gathered to watch the show and then buy the fish.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's a good lesson to be learned there.
What's the underlying principle of the fish philosophy then? What do you think, just to unpack that for people so they can kind of make sure they get their heads fully around that?
I think it's about being in the moment. So it's about being, so it says be there. And those guys at the fish market are there. So they are chatting one-on-one with the customers. They're throwing fish at the customers, just swiping past the customer's head. And the customer feels they're the most important person in the world. So by being there for people, we can all turn up, but we have to be there.
Sure.
There's a difference.
About being present in the moment and things.
And making everybody feel valuable. So I think we've talked about values, but actually our values are nothing if the people that have them don't feel valuable to the home, to the residents, to each other, to the business. Making a valuable contribution, whatever your role is something that will make people feel like they're part of something. Once you stop being there, it's very hard to feel. So very often as leaders, I think I always call it, I follow my gut. It's a bit of a Derbyshire saying, I think, but you follow your gut. It's not as bad as it sounds. But if you're not there, then your gut can't work. And they do say there's a second brain in your gut.
There's a reason why we've got these intuition.
Yeah.
Interestingly, it was a conversation with Avnish that I was having. I can't remember what it was about now, but he said, I had a conversation with him about something that I had a gut feeling about, and he said, there's a reason why you have gut feelings, and follow your intuition, Simon. I think that's very, very important.
That's a nice way of putting it. Follow your intuition. It's just follow your gut. But yeah, so my biggest leadership lesson is that I wasn't there enough to follow my gut. And that's when something went wrong for me. And that's when, I say for me, it wasn't actually, that's when something went wrong for us. But again, it's that personal thing, because I take it so personally, because it means so much. But if I'd have been there, I don't know if I would have, whether it still would have happened.
Sure.
I don't know. I'd like to think I'd have followed my gut a bit earlier. But I learned a lesson, which is be there. So I go around all of our homes and spend a lot of time there and chat to the staff and the residents, spend very little time in the manager's office. Because the people that can tell me how it is are the people that are living and working there, because that's the people that, are important to us.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot that people can yield from that particular learning as well. Interestingly enough, as well, I'm going to be making sure that I include quite detailed show notes so that whenever we reference things, I'll include the link to the Care Society, etc. I'm probably now going to have to include a link to the fish market thing as well, just so people understand what we're talking about as well, to understand what that cohesive high performance team looks like in a fish market setting. Yeah,
it's and it's funny. Makes you laugh. Gives you happiness.
Absolutely. So, here's a question for you. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do you know what? That's really simple for me to answer because I've received a lot of advice. There was a lady who I worked with for many years who inspired me and motivated me into wanting to make a difference. And I can even remember where we were when she gave me the advice. And I don't even think she was giving me advice. It was just who she was. She was a real leader and an inspiration. But she said, if ever the pound comes before the person, then it's time to get out.
If ever the pound comes before the person, then it's time to get out. Yeah, that's a really nice analogy.
And I knew what she meant. You can read lots of things from that. If the pound is more important than the person, then, you're in the wrong job, basically. So if you're in this business just to make money, you might make money, but it won't last.
Sure, it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. High performance organisations are organisations that have performed at a high level for 5 years and over. We're talking about sustained high performance. We can all be a flash in the pan. But it's people that make the high performing organisations, as we said. So I've always followed that advice.
There's an interesting model that I remember seeing. It's if you imagine a fulcrum with a kind of a balancing bar, and you've got I think it's like business on one side and culture on the other one, and you've got to make sure that you get the balance right in between the two. I guess that quite links in quite nicely with what you're talking about, because if you go too far one way, then it's not going to work. If you go the other way, it's not going to work as well. It's finding that kind of optimum balance. But I think all too often people focus too much on the pound signs and forget about the people. And again, it's just not sustainable. Funnily enough, it's not a good business model not to look after people.
No.
Which
look at Richard Branson. He's made a lot of money out of it. But he puts, he is actually quite, I don't know if you've read a lot of his stuff.
All of it.
What an entrepreneur, but he's done it through people. He's done it through empowering people, through growth of people, and by putting his people even before his customers. I think his mantra is,
Sure. Yeah.
Always put your people first.
I was thinking exactly that whilst you were explaining how you invest in your team. I can't remember exactly how he phrases it now, but invest in your people. I can't remember
always
exactly what it is.
Put your people first, I think.
Putting people before
your customers.
Your people are more important than your customers, because your people are the people that look after your customers.
Yeah.
And
it's
to
true.
that extent.
It's true.
Absolutely. And it couldn't be any more important in a care setting, of course.
No, absolutely not.
So, last and final question. So, if you were to provide one piece of advice for somebody looking to make a positive impact on the sector, what would that be?
Oh, interesting question. Always be yourself. Always be true to yourself. Never forget where you came from. And never put yourself first. Always put yourself with others.
Super powerful. I like that. A lot. Angela, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you
so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.